Good afternoon. Welcome to Stupid for Fantasy Football, the Thanksgiving edition. I am your host today, Mark Jablon, otherwise known as Jabber. We got Claire, the Coffee here, and Marty Lublin.
Oh, it's good to be
Welcome back.
Here. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy Thanksgiving. A little housekeeping up top here, folks. If you want to check us out, keep in mind, it is Tuesday today, so a lot of injury updates and things are going to be happening tomorrow. If you want to check us out on YouTube, it's youtube.com/streamingarage. Check us out on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter for all the latest updates throughout the week, including the Thursday games and the Sunday games. At Stupid4Football, that's Stupid the number 4 football on Twitter. And on game day, join us in the Ustream chat room. We'll be hanging out, talking shop, talking football, talking late injuries, late scratches, things like that. Guys, you should start and guys, you should sit. Let's jump right into it, shall we? First off, our signature segment, We Told You So. Or, excuse me, our signature segment, Who Screwed Me?
I miss Adam.
Yeah.
Well, stop it.
You know, Mark is always big with the shout-outs. I have to give a shout-out to today, and also JJ. Shout-out to our peeps. Mark loves shout-outs, so there's a shout-out.
I do.
Adam, call in, please. Well, we are so glad to have Claire here.
You know why?
This is my first appearance on camera with Claire, and I'm so excited.
Here's why I forgot.
We coordinated.
Here's why I forgot about Who Screwed Me. Because for the past 3 weeks, I've just been winning, Marty. And, I mean, I can't lose. And I have to fix my mic.
But he's talking as he's fixing his mic. He wants to not talk so I can mute it. I'm muting you. You guys take over.
Nobody screwed me this week.
Producer Mike, nice job. Mark, you just screwed the show earlier with that opening. You know, honestly, I have to say no one screwed me either. I'm in playoff mode, people. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to give you advice. There was almost a screw, and I know people who have LaShawn McCoy was really worried. As we got to that second half, he had 13 yards. And then that fourth down play, he breaks off a 50-yard touchdown. I'm jumping up and down. LaShawn saved me. I win my game, Claire.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a big victory for me.
Nobody screwed me either. I did have Santonio Holmes on the bench, which
you're killing me. Should have told me this 20 minutes ago, guys.
I'm not a sound guy.
20 minutes ago, should have made this correction.
Can we sub Mark for Adam?
This thing doesn't click in.
Let's just do a two-man show. Viewers, let me talk to Claire.
Okay.
Please get that shot off of Jabber.
Great. Can you hear me now?
Nope, you're facing the wrong way. But go ahead, yes, we're good. Keep it.
The man doesn't know how to work a microphone, folks, but hopefully we can help you with your fantasy news.
That's where it's going. Okay, well, I didn't get screwed because I won, and I'm excited.
So let's go to We Told You So.
So there you go. All right, let's go to
Enough about us.
Enough about us.
But now let's tell you so.
But shouldn't we talk about people who might have screwed other people?
No, let's talk about We Told You So.
We can throw out a couple screws if you want. Should we throw out a couple screws?
It's part of the show, people.
It is.
All right, we're going to move on to We Told You So.
Flawless segment right there.
Show started yet?
All right, let's start out with a guy that I have grown to love because he's on my squad, folks. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis.
The law firm.
The law firm, running back for the New England Patriots. There he is. The former Hoosier transfer, but I know. Nobody remembers when he was in Indiana. A good day for Ben Jarvis.
He's been having some
good days. What are we looking at for the running game moving forward for the New England Patriots? Obviously, Danny Woodhead, who we're going to mention, is also in the mix. Claire's favorite.
My favorite.
But
he was, and he helped tackle last week. He was, running like crazy. He had a touchdown. But I think Green Ellis is their number one guy, and I think Danny Woodhead looked to him, though, for, he's obviously showing that he's capable.
Woodhead's like a Kevin Falk, if you remember. He's a Kevin Falk type from the old school Patriots. That's his role. He'll get some big plays, but Ben Jarvis Green Ellis is your running back moving forward.
I think, Danny Woodhead, as Adam had suggested at Flex, I think he's good for 10, 12 points, though.
But he was also on our We Told You So. So I guess since we're talking about him, we told you about Danny Woodhead apparently last week, too.
Absolutely.
I missed last week, but I'm going to take credit for some of these anyway.
Yeah, right.
I want to talk about Mike Tolbert because He, on one of my leagues, was my only running back and really carried it in the biggest game he's had all year. And with Ryan Matthews being horrible and disappointing and probably out for a while, even when he's in, Mike Tolbert is who you've got to go with.
Tolbert seems to get a touchdown each week. He's like the Chris Carter of the Chargers. Every time you look up, Tolbert has a touchdown. Not a lot of yards, but the guy always gets a touchdown.
Yeah.
And Ryan Matthews might be one of the biggest busts of this year's fantasy
I'm concerned
season.
about Mike Tolbert only because he did have a good game on Monday night, but he's really only had like 4 good games. And even in some of those games where he scored a touchdown, I mean, the numbers have been so pitiful that he's only scored maybe 7-8 points. Usually if a guy gets low yardage and a touchdown, you're looking at a solid 14, 15-point effort, which can give you some confidence moving forward. My issue with Tolbert is that sometimes he gets 2 carries, 3 carries for 3 yards, 12 carries for 11 yards against Oakland, 8 for 32 against Houston. I mean, do you think we're finally seeing him turn the corner and become a really solid option, or is it the kind of thing where you just throw him in there and you hope and pray that he's going to have a good performance?
I think he won't have as good a performance this coming week as he did this week, but
At
he's
Indy.
been splitting with Ryan Matthews because they keep hoping that Ryan Matthews is going to be their guy, which he's not, and now officially, I think this week, he's out. So now I feel confident about Tolbert moving forward.
I like Tolbert as a flex. He's been in my 3rd spot. Sometimes I don't put him in, but he is a crapshoot. He's that 7 or 8 point guy a week. If Matthew stays out and he's the starting running back, boom, move him to a number 2. But I like him as a flex.
But it's not like your flex players are getting less scoring than your other players, right? Your flex is, I mean,
a flex you want to count on for 7 or 8.
A flex you want to count on to be a significant part of your team. This is playoff time. You can't just sort of throw a guy in there and say, oh, well, he's going to give you 7, 8 points. A flex player is as much as a receiver, as much as a running back, as much as a tight end.
It depends who's on your team.
Yeah.
It depends.
Well, of course it does.
If you're grasping for straws, yes.
Okay, let's go to...
Let's move on to... Let me go to this one.
Okay.
Because you all know I'm a Cowboys fan, and last time I was here, we talked about the implosion of the Cowboys. But JJ and I said there was one guy who was in FU mode. He's the one guy who cares. He's been on a tear. It's Des Bryant. You can count on him each week. The guy seems to just be better than everyone else on the field right now, and he really cares. He's going higher than everyone. He's a god for the Cowboys, and I love his fire.
He seems like he's the only guy who's really, really leaving it all out on the field every week. Like you said, he's out jumping everybody. He's out hustling everybody. What's that stupid verb that those football pundits create? He's out, whatever. He's out aggressiving, like those guys say. But yeah, he really is. He's aggressive. He's big. He's strong. He's using every inch of his frame and every bit of his muscle to catch a lot of balls. I mean, he's been great. Great.
We told you about him about 3 weeks ago. He's helping out. Kittner looks great. He could be a waiver wire steal if he's still there, because Kittner's got him. He's got Miles Austin stepping up, and look at Kittner with a nice little quarterback scramble for a touchdown. So don't sleep on Kittner. If you're still searching for someone to fill out and get you some points as a quarterback, I don't mind John Kittner. I'm telling you right now.
So we'll go to Ravens D, which was a We Told You So.
And apparently we told you so because they were playing Carolina.
Yeah, I think
it's a matchup thing. We saw St. Pierre, Mr. Stay-at-home dad, come off the bench, and he threw 2 pick sixes. Not 1, 2 pick sixes. And ladies and gentlemen, I commend you or command you to search out who plays the Carolina Panthers. This week it's the Browns. Could be a sneaky pickup. Check your playoff. When you get in the playoffs, look who's playing Carolina. I looked on the waiver wires. The Atlanta Falcons defense was available, and I see they're playing Carolina during the fantasy playoffs. That could be a good pickup.
Look, and same thing with Buffalo. It's not. Forget the fact that Buffalo's playing good offense right now, but they always give up a lot of points. Even in those 2 big games, Baltimore put up a lot of points on them. Obviously, Cincinnati last week put up a lot of points on them, 31 points, even though Buffalo scored 49.
Yeah, another point, Cincinnati. Who plays Cincinnati each week? Find out what team's playing. The Jets. Thursday night, Thanksgiving. Yeah. Santonio Holmes. I like him. Braylon Edwards. Mark Sanchez. Come on. These Bengals are just the Bengals, the Panthers, the Bills. Some of these teams, you got to go after them. And look who they're playing. if your team's sitting pretty, if you're already like you look like you're in the playoffs, check out those last 3 weeks. If you're looking your waiver wire, see who's playing the Bengals, see who's playing Carolina, see who's playing the Bills.
I want to jump back for a second to Mike
Jump
Tolbert.
back. Go
because,
ahead.
Claire, somebody in the chat room here, Tecumseh628, said Indy's run D is awful. I think Tolbert's a good play this week.
Yes.
Normally I would say yes, but I have to say, Tecumseh, that one of the things I look out for, and this is a tried and true statistic, West Coast teams that travel east to play early games following a Monday night game rarely do well. They almost never, by the way, cover the spread. Not that we're talking about gambling. 93% of the time, they don't cover the spread. That said, Tolbert could be in for a struggle. They put up a lot of offensive numbers this week, and he could have some issues. San Diego, in general, the whole team could have issues going east to play an early game. It makes a difference that it's really like a day and a half less that you have to prepare and to rest than other teams have. So just keep an eye on that. If you've got Tolbert and he's your guy,
I still
go with
say
him.
if he's starting, start him.
It just depends who your other options are.
Right.
Yeah, I would. And
Okay,
it's a Sunday nighter. It's a big game. The Chargers
it's a night
are
game?
on fire.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's
not an
a
early
Sunday
game, but
night
still,
game.
it's a day
Yeah.
off. All right. Let's take a look at Joel Dreesen.
He's another
Houston.
we told you so.
Another we told you so. Marty, take this one, because I couldn't care less about this guy.
Well, Owen Daniels is injured again. Schaub has to throw to someone, and it seems with that, Houston's another team we're picking on. Houston's defense cannot stop anybody. So, Schaub's throwing, and Joel Dreesen had a nice game. I don't have his stats in front of me right now, but we told you to pick him up. He's a good pickup.
He had 106 yards and a
They're airing it out with Schaub and Houston. Andre Johnson still gimpy. I don't know when he's going to be full strength, but Joel Dreesen's a very nice pickup. He had a great game. He scored a touchdown, had a big catch. So he's a we told you so.
And he had 106 yards. And I
Thanks,
think,
Claire.
Andre Johnson, people are always going to be covering him. And so, maybe you've got Kevin Walter, but I think this Dreesen guy, he proved that he can do it. So I think, looking ahead.
And it's the year of the tight end injury. So if you're really struggling for a tight end, you got to look at him, especially with Houston's D.
A lot of tight ends going down.
They can't stop anybody. They
No
can.
doubt.
That's another matchup thing. Look for who Houston's D plays each week.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to our last one, Mike Williams from Seattle.
He's a we told you so, but now he's injured. So he's become a bit of a moot point.
Right. A bit of we told you he'd get hurt after a great game.
But he's having his best year ever.
He's
been resurrected.
His head's screwed on. He's playing for his old coach,
We've been
right?
talking about him all year. But yes, if he could... He's injured now. Check the tweets on Sunday, because who knows what'll happen. Maybe he'll... What is it? We're going to talk about him in the injury report.
Yeah.
All right, that does it for We Told You So. Let's move on now to fantasy news. Okay, first news story. It's too bad JJ isn't here, folks, because it's time to rip on the Vikings once again. Well, oddly enough, Brett Favre is still the starter, even though he sucks. And Brad Childress is finally out. And, first of all, I'm going to take this, I told you so. I told you should have fired that son of a bitch 6 weeks ago, okay? Finally, he's out. Finally. Brett Favre threw for 100 more yards than he should have, so they kept him around for a couple of weeks. Whatever. Terrible call. You finally did the right thing. Pay him his $3.5 million. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. So Favre is the starter. Tavares Jackson, this guy's got to be the most disrespected man in NFL history, Marty.
Has Tavares really impressed you when he started?
No, I mean, he hasn't been terrible, though. He hasn't
He's
been any
not terrible,
worse
he's
than
not
like your...
fantastic.
No, but he hasn't really been given a shot either, right?
He started in the playoffs.
Yeah, a little bit. So what happens now? What
The only
happens
thing
with
to
the
take
Vikings?
out of this is Sidney Rice was on the field this Sunday.
Sidney Rice was on the field.
And
Now,
he had the most targets. And
He did.
He hasn't played all year. I think he may go in FU mode and have some catches and be someone on that team who cares. Maybe he's playing for a contract. Maybe he's playing just to show the NFL, hey, I'm still Sidney Rice. That's the only thing I'm looking at on this team.
How does it cut into Percy Harvin's
It's a
production?
contract year.
It is a contract year. Thank you. I knew that stat was going to follow me. It is a contract year. I say Sidney Rice. Percy, they have nothing to lose. Favre has nothing to lose. I don't know what his decision will be. If he stays, he's going to be wanting to show the NFL, hey, I could still ball. If Tavares comes in, he's going to say, hey, I could show everyone I can ball. But let's load it up. I stole Rice off the waivers. I stashed him. I have him. I want to see Rice do something. So it's personnel. I'm personally talking right here.
Sure, I do that all the time.
Yes.
Percy Harvin, didn't screw me last week, but I imagine he screwed a lot of people.
Yeah, I wasn't starting him.
You didn't start him.
No.
I
knew better.
Does this
you should have listened to Claire. That's why we're here.
Affect Percy Harvin going forward, do you think? Or were they just trying to get Rice involved more last week and now it's going to kind of even out again?
I think it could be better for Percy Harvin. I think it's bad for Shiancoe. Everything's bad. Shiancoe, you should I think I'm about to drop him. But
you're always about to drop everybody.
Yeah. But I worry.
Because you can pick up anyone in your league.
When
Shiancoe has heart, though. Did you see Shiancoe talking in the locker room? He was pissed before Chili got fired. Great. If you YouTube it, go find Shiancoe in the locker room. Great.
I just think after Wade Phillips was fired, the Cowboys bounced back right away.
Yes, they did. Jason Garrett found a new offensive playbook. I can talk Cowboys all the time.
So this might be a similar situation. We'll see.
We'll see.
And okay, so next.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right,
come on, guys.
I think that was just because they thought JJ was going to be here. He's not. So
Cincinnati implodes while Buffalo has the comeback of the year. Cincinnati is one of the worst teams in football. And there it is. That's indicative of how bad they are. Carson Palmer, I guess, going down. Doesn't even look like he has legs there.
Cincinnati is the worst.
So what does this say fantasy-wise? Oh, boy, look at that.
I think their problem is defense more than anything else.
Sure, but from
I think you can still start T.O. because I think he's the one who's going to be getting the ball. Depending on...
T.O.'s quietly having his best year in such a long time.
Yeah, so I think...
And they're always down. Carson Palmer may be one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, but he's putting up fantasy numbers each week.
He is. And Ocho Cinco had that breakout game against the Colts. He played really well.
They are playing the Jets this coming week, which
could pose an issue.
Yeah.
For the passing game especially.
Right.
Are the Jets such a vaunted defense, though, that you should be concerned about starting your Cincinnati players?
You might be. You might be concerned. I think Cincinnati, like Carolina, one of the worst teams in the NFL. You're going to start all your Jets. Do what you can, except for maybe Dustin Keller. He's kind of dropped off.
I think because of Santonio
Holmes.
He's out.
But Braylon Edwards is back to relevance. If I could say
Relevance?
that. Mispronunciation. Can you put a mispronunciation?
Can you put a mispronunciation up there for Marty?
Welcome to the club. Adam's not here. I got to take over.
Okay.
But there could be garbage time.
Marty's got two.
Yes, two. Where was my first one?
Oh, I'm sure there was one before.
All right. I'm butchering the English language. I just learned Hooked on Phonics, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thanksgiving night. You might want to get your popcorn ready because T.O. loves prime time.
He does.
It's
love
the
prime
NFL
time.
Network, so it could be a shootout. But I don't know if the Jets want to give him that satisfaction. We'll see. If you have no better options, I would still start T.O.
Yeah, I think you still got to start him. I think as far as Cedric Benson is concerned, look, he's still putting up some pretty good numbers. He's been a little bit weak the last couple of weeks before this last game. A lot of people are blaming the Cincinnati offensive line. I don't blame you for blaming them. But, you just got to look real carefully at your matchups right now. Obviously, it's coming down to crunch time. It's playoff time. Just be careful. Don't start him because you think you have to, and then all of a sudden you're kicking yourself for doing that. If you've got a guy who's reliable in that flex position or possible another running back, go with it. All right, moving on. The New York Giants. The New York Football Giants.
Hey, Chris Berman's in the house.
The wide receivers are having some issues, as Dan Rather would say. A lot of issues right now with the wide receiving core for the New York Giants. One time considered a well-oiled machine. Steve Smith, Hakeem Nicks. Mario Manningham is a great number 3, sort of a number 2 waiting in the wings.
Except where I'm concerned, I don't like him.
Manningham got his chance last week. Had 10 for 91. Came into this past week's game against Philly. Highly touted. We even said it on this show. He was expecting a lot more targets. Things obviously didn't go well for the Giants. And this is kind of a step back, Marty, Claire, to what was happening at the beginning of the season where you couldn't really count on Eli not to turn the ball over. You couldn't count on him to not have a complete meltdown in a game, and now we're sort of seeing that again. Is it just because Steve Smith got hurt, or is there something else going on here? You know, Ahmad Bradshaw, also a terrible game on Sunday night. So
I think
what are the prospects going forward?
I'm going to give them a pass on Sunday night. I think Philly's one of the best teams in the NFL right now. And they were in that game, surprisingly, for a couple turnovers. This week they get their mojo back, even though Hakeem Nicks, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
So good.
Sorry to see him go. But they do get Jacksonville, and this is another team that gives up bombs. It gives up points.
Yeah.
So Mario Manningham, no one wanted to pick him up these last couple of weeks, but you might want to, if he's still there, pick him up, or if he's on your team, start him, because he's their number one choice. And then you got who's the new guy?
Derek Hagan.
Derek Hagan.
Which I think will. Marty and I are having a bet as to who will do better this week, and I think it's Hagan.
It's going to be Mario Manningham, everybody.
We've got a side bet in the house.
What are we betting?
There's the Hagan.
What's a Claire bet?
Well,
let's mix it up.
I didn't get to make good on my bet with Adam. Which
you
was
will.
He has to wear
You
the
will make good
49ers
on that
jersey because I crushed him in that league. But I know we have to figure out.
We'll figure out something.
Don't worry. Adam's going to wear that jersey.
So it'll be Hagan, a new guy. You know, they trust him. They got Manningham. Kevin Boss might be a sneaky pickup. Eli's got to throw to someone. I see more touches for Bradshaw. So the Giants will probably spread it out. They need this win. They have Jacksonville, who's does give up points.
Jacksonville does give up points, absolutely.
Bradshaw got benched for a little bit after that fumble, too. Brandon Jacobs might make a comeback.
And also, interesting point, Brandon Jacobs. So I think they spread it out. You don't know who's going to star on this team, but you know they should be able to put up some points on Jacksonville.
I think once Steve Smith comes back, hopefully in Week 13, now they're kind of saying that he may not be completely healthy till Week 14, but I think when Steve Smith comes back, that is going to give the Giants the stability they need. He's going to be the center of this offense once again, especially the passing game. And we don't really know what's going on with Hakeem Nicks, but hold on to Steve Smith. He may be a great guy going forward in the playoffs. He'll be stable. He catches a lot of balls. And he's just been rock solid all year. All right. Do you think, here's a question that Adam posed for us. Do you think ESPN wishes it could reschedule the Monday night game, San Fran versus Arizona? Well, Adam, here's my personal opinion of the whole thing. That's what I have to say to you, Adam. I agree with that kid. I really do. I wholeheartedly agree with him that I think you should just tone it down and relax. Because that's going to be a quality game, Claire, right?
I think, I mean, Crabtree could have a breakout week, and Vernon Davis, perhaps. So
absolutely. Now, I have to say, I have the Cardinals' defense, right? Not so good really good for a few weeks, not so good the last 2 weeks. But I'm stuck with them now due to the rules for my ad drops. I'm stuck with them at least until the playoffs. But I actually think the Cardinals could have a pretty good game at home against the Niners this Monday night. This could be one of those times where they sort of break out and start picking off balls again and running them back for touchdowns. So we shall see. I'm a Niner fan. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't happen. But as a fantasy player who really needs a playoff spot, I'm really pulling for it.
Yeah, I think that might be some wishful
that Cardinals
thinking.
Pick. No, I mean, the 49ers were just shut out.
Cardinals D is a good choice this week.
And welcome to the end zone. Larry Fitzgerald got in the end zone this weekend. So for fantasy watchers, there's still relevance. It's relevance. Can't say that word today. I feel a little clogged up too today.
He gets a double for that. He now jumps up.
Put me up to 4.
He couldn't pronounce the same word.
I know. A double shot.
Okay. I have a couple of questions, a couple of news stories. And this is more about, I've been getting on this theme the last couple of weeks of like how you want to go into the playoffs, you know, and what kind of chances you want to take versus playing it safe and looking for the reliable pick, right? Because, Marty, you're all about that, right? Reliability.
I'm looking ahead.
And, of course, relevance.
Relevance.
So I sort of feel like I got a couple of guys for you.
The password is relevance.
I got a couple of guys for you. Tony Gonzalez. Can you still feel confident starting this guy? His numbers are pitiful. He had one good game this entire year. I noticed in our chat room we've got a lot of tight end questions. Marty, what to do about Tony Gonzalez? Are you just screwed because, you know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't with Tony Gonzalez? You got to start him because he's Tony G.
He's Tony G, and I did peek at the Falcons schedule down the road, and I think they do have Carolina in one of your playoff games, so just
Right, and they are
I don't
home.
know if there's and in the dome, Ryan is great. And how do you bench Tony Gonzalez? What else do you have?
Right, I know.
And the tight ends this year really, there's a handful who produce every week. But other than that,
let me ask you: do you do you pull out like a Tony Scheffler, who's in a platoon role with Brandon Pettigrew in Detroit?
I like Pettigrew better.
Yeah,
Pettigrew,
So do I. But I'm
Pettigrew
saying
gets numbers.
Most people do like Pettigrew better. What I'm saying is, do you say, okay, you know what? I'd rather roll the dice with a Scheffler than a Tony Gonzalez, because he's just not doing his job, which is to be the best guy ever.
Yeah.
That's my question.
I don't know what you do. My tight end situation, I found Jacob Tammy, and thank God I found him before anyone else.
Right.
And I haven't really looked at tight ends in a couple weeks, to tell you the truth.
Well, be careful with those tight ends.
Yeah.
Claire, your
I
tight end thoughts?
Gonzalez, just
Mrs. Lewis.
stop.
Mrs.
And
Mercedes Lewis.
Mercedes Lewis, yeah. I think Mercedes Lewis maybe has been the most consistent tight end. Thanks, my sister knew
He's
that
been great.
week one. And I think Tony Gonzalez, I'd get someone else or play a different wide receiver.
And worst case scenario, just get Aaron Hernandez and play him in every position, right? For Adam, just play him.
And
You
let's
can't. You're not going to bench Tony Gonzalez for Tony Scheffler. Let's
Don't
be
bench
honest.
Tony Gonzalez. All right, I was
be
posing the
honest.
question. I'm definitely not saying I'm going to do that.
Let's move on
Yes.
to the
Moving
last
on.
news story, which is Vincent Jackson, who's back this week, and what are you going to do with him? And I think normally I would say wait, because he's like Santonio Holmes. He was out for so long, it took him a while to warm up. But San Diego
V-Jax.
is so hurting at wide receiver right now. Creighton's out. Malcolm Floyd may be out because he had, I think, a hamstring issue. I think Ejiro Tutu is the only other guy who might be
Good
relevant,
pronunciation.
so I'm good at
Claire,
pronunciation.
coffee.
So
I expected it. She's not getting a high five from me. I was
Vincent Jackson, go for it if you need.
You think he's going to step right in and be the guy and be
I think
amazing?
because Phillip Rivers is so good and he's so accurate, and I think they need him so badly that Vincent Jackson,
All right.
Phillip Rivers.
he's
No
annoying.
mispronunciations.
I don't like Phillip Rivers as a guy, but you
Right.
can't deny how good he is as a
You have to
quarterback.
consider Phillip Rivers for one of the MVPs of this year. For what he's doing with that team and all
Sure.
their injuries. Creighton's out. Could lose Floyd.
He is the MVP.
Vincent Jackson's coming back. It's a Sunday nighter. All eyes are on him. And they're playing the Colts.
And they're at Indy. Yeah, no, it's a huge game for them.
If you statch Vincent Jackson, why not? Break him out. Break him out this week. It's a coming out party.
I'm going to bust out one more story for you because I think it's important. Again, moving into the playoffs, here's a guy who's put up incredible numbers the last few weeks. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Is it time to put him in the conversation with some of the other good mid-level to really good quarterbacks? Fantasy-wise, in this league, does Ryan Fitzpatrick move from if he's the only guy I got status to, no, I'm going to consider putting him in instead of guys like McNabb and Schaub and some of these other quarterbacks.
It's a great conversation, and I like him, but he's playing Pittsburgh this week, so I'm going to put it on hold for a week.
Okay, good call.
I don't know if he's an every week starter because you do want to look at the matchups. He's been on fire, but he's been playing some teams.
Yeah.
Last question. What do you do if you're a New Orleans running back owner? Do you rely on Chris Ivory going forward next week?
I think,
Do you
Reggie
play
Bush
him?
might be back.
Even if Bush is back, the way they use him in the offense, right? Because if Pierre Thomas and Reggie Bush are on the field together, people are starting Pierre Thomas. Has Chris Ivory established himself as a guy who can be on the field with Reggie Bush and a solid start in your fantasy league?
I think the way they broke it down the last week with him they need a running back. It makes Bree's game open up. So they'll play Ivory, I'm sure, until we check the tweets. We'll see when Bush comes back and if Pierre Thomas comes back.
Yeah.
But Ivory, I'm keeping him. If you have him, if he's still on your waiver wires, I saw him on both my waiver wires, and he might be worth the pickup if you're hurting for a running back.
Good.
But I say, and it's Thursday, so play him this week against the Cowboys. He's going to open up that passing game.
I think so too. I think he's going to have a good game against the Cowboys. He had a really good game last week.
I'll go immediately. If he's on your waivers or you have him and you haven't been playing him, start him this week against Dallas.
All right.
That's news.
That's the news.
Oh, that was a great news segment.
Let's move on.
Oh, beautiful.
Next up,
You want me to do injury report?
I can't say the doctor is in because the doctor ain't. But let's go on to our injury report. We've got a new doctor this week. Claire Coffey, ladies and gentlemen, has been sent. Where's your lab coat?
Yeah, I know. I need my lab
Where
coat.
is the goddamn?
I love it when Claire plays doctor.
Well, Claire is going to play
I've been
doctor
waiting for
this
this
week
segment
because
all
she's the only
week.
one. She's the only one who really wants to do
Back in the
research.
Keep the
studio.
ball rolling.
Keep it going. Keep it
Heyo.
rolling.
Suddenly I'm Brett Michaels.
Hakeem Nicks, who we were talking about earlier, he has something called a compartment leg syndrome, which is a swelling in the lower leg that compresses nerves and vessels, which sounds very dangerous. So he had surgery. He's missing about 3 weeks. So this is where Hagen comes in really handy. Next we have Austin Collie, who has another concussion. And it looks like, I think Blair White might be his replacement.
Yep, Blair White, who had 2 touchdowns.
So check out Blair White. I mean, Indy, they're hard because they use everybody. So you really never know.
We told you about Blair a couple weeks ago. He might still be available, but he looked good. Pierre Garçon, he's still not taken over that team.
No, he hasn't, as I knew he wouldn't. But I want to make a point about this whole, because the guy who usually sits in my seat loves to talk about how Peyton Manning just gets the ball to the open guy. Austin Collie came back from 3 weeks off last week, walked into that game, walked on the field, caught 5 balls for 60 yards in the first, 10 or 12 minutes of that game, okay? He is a threat. Keep Collie on your bench. When he comes back, when he plays, he will be a great fantasy player. I'm guaranteeing it right now. I don't think Pierre Garçon has shown that he can be the guy on that team. Absolutely not. I'd pick Tammy over him if I was to look at offensive weapons on that team.
Oh, I love Tammy.
Obviously, Wayne is ahead of him. White is ahead of him, and Jacob Tammy's ahead of him. Pierre Garçon is not a factor right now.
Okay.
He's been too inconsistent.
The next injury is Patrick Creighton, who has a dislocated wrist. And this is tricky. If he needs surgery, he'll be out for the rest of the year. We still don't. They were doing MRIs this morning. So that's, where Vincent Jackson comes in, I think, out of desperation. So Patrick Creighton could be out the rest of the year. Check back later this week. We'll have more updates.
Can I just say one thing? I love Patrick Creighton. I feel so bad for that guy. He's such a hustler, Even on Dallas, he was one of the few Cowboys I didn't hate.
Oh, I appreciate it. Got love for Creighton.
I just feel bad for that guy.
Not that that helps your fantasy team. But Mark,
with relevant points.
But also we heard Floyd tweak a hamstring too.
Yeah,
we talked about the situation earlier. So it could be Vincent Jackson and who?
And Ahiro Tutu. Yeah. And next, Mike Williams from Seattle. He has a strange foot injury. They're not saying what it is, but in a press conference, I guess it was something that the medics had never seen before. So he's questionable for this week and possibly moving forward, and that's another check-back situation.
I got it right here. Pete Carroll calls it an unusual ailment. It's an unusual ailment. Breaking news. This is why I'm in the studio, ladies and gentlemen.
That does not sound good.
It's unusual.
And next, okay.
And who's going to fill in? Oh, another one for the all-name team. This is my pick to fill in. Ben Obumanu. Did I get that correct?
Oh, boy.
Ben Obumanu, I think, becomes their leading receiver if Williams is out.
Who cares?
And,
they're at home.
And if
Hasselbeck threw for over 300 yards last week.
That's shocking.
And he had a touchdown, and they're at home. Don't sleep on Seattle.
A touchdown.
I think
Don't sleep on Seattle.
Seattle, not big scorers unless you're against the 49ers.
300 yards.
Right. Or the Chiefs.
Next is Vince Young. His season is over. He's been put on injured reserve, but he's also put on, cranky pants reserve.
Oh,
right.
So mature, such a leader, that guy.
Really, what a leader.
And
What
as
a
Adam,
leader.
as
I'll
Adam
follow him anywhere.
I have to say for Adam that Adam thinks he may have broken his vagina this week.
Oh!
So, all right, and that's the doctor is in.
Wait, what'd you say? What was that last part again?
I said he injured his thumb.
Oh.
All right.
So they have Rusty.
That
to go
wraps
with.
up the injury report. Thank you. The doctor was in, Dr. Claire, Dr. Coffey. Let's move on now to On the Wire. All right. Well, first guy. I mean, this is getting a little harder now, of course, folks, because it's the end of the season. A lot of injuries have happened. People are getting picked up left and right. So, slim pickings going into the playoffs here.
But we have some good ones.
But we've got a few good ones. Believe it or not, Mike Goodson from Carolina, running back for Carolina, has been backing up D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. I know. Who are those guys? And he has been rock solid. I mean, I think he broke 100 yards last week,
Yeah,
yes?
he did.
Goodson's been great. Now, problem is this week he faces the Ravens, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't have any battery left.
Carolina's playing the Ravens. The problem for Goodson, of course, is that the Ravens have a good defense.
No, he's playing
and
he's
playing the Browns.
Cleveland.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
he's playing
He
Cleveland. Thank you for the
did
correction.
his 100-yard game against the Ravens. So
Yeah.
Oh, right, he had his 100-yard
so the
game against
Ravens
the
aren't that scary this season.
My bad.
He's playing
But
Cleveland.
Cleveland has been playing good defense.
Yes.
On the other hand, look, this guy's small. He's getting through the holes, and he's been playing great. So you got to pick him up. 84% availability right now. So you got to pick up Mike Goodson at the very least as a good backup, because he's good. All right, here's another one of Adams. Guys. Rusty Smith. He's owned in 150%. He's not owned in 100. He's available in 150% of leagues. Why? Because nobody knows who the fuck he is. He's a rookie.
For Tennessee, we should say.
He will be starting for Tennessee. There he is.
There he is.
Adam.
Starting against Houston
this
this week.
Bad idea.
Time to test the anybody can throw on Houston theory.
Oh, how we
So if
long for
you're-
the days of Kerry Collins.
If you would like to test that theory, you can start him.
This is why
Otherwise,
you should be starting Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Here's the deal, though. They are playing Houston. You expect Randy Moss to wake up from his year-long coma, and maybe Nate Washington have a decent
But
game.
not if
but I don't know
Rookies
if you want to start
throwing to him.
Rusty Smith. Hey, Russ.
Yeah.
I don't know if
No,
you're starting
I
Rusty
think,
Smith.
I think if
That's
anything-
Adam's call. If he goes off, Adam, all kudos
Yeah.
to
Oh
you.
yeah, this show will double in viewership next year if Adam gets this one right. I actually think it's a good day for Bo Scaife. It's that old young quarterback, tight end security blanket thing. I would look for him. He's already getting a lot of targets. I would look for him to have a good game.
Let me give you 3 other quarterbacks just in case that weren't on Adam's list. Kitna versus New Orleans. It's a Thanksgiving game. It's a short week. I think he might have a nice game if he's still available. 28%. Sean Hill available in 23%. Also Thanksgiving game, short week. And Hasselback. He threw for 300 yards. He plays KC at home. Those are 3 other choices if you need a quarterback to fill in this week.
Brian Hartline's another one, available in 94% of leagues for Miami, wide receiver for Miami. Tyler Thigpen seems to like the kid. He's throwing the ball his way. Look for Brian Hartline to have a couple of good performances this week, in the next couple of weeks. Keelan Williams, 74% availability. Keelan Williams is still available because guess what? In Washington Redskins land, Clinton Portis is injured. Shocking. So look for Keelan Williams. He could be a solid pickup. Derek Hagan, 99% availability. There he is again.
he's my favorite of the week.
The Jerry Rice of the New York Giants.
Oh, Manningham is taking him down.
Nope.
But,
Manningham.
I happen to
What
think
should I bet the
Manningham
doctor?
will bounce back this week. I happen to think Manningham will have a pretty good game for the Giants. But I got to stick with my pal Claire over here. I'm really hoping that Hagan has a better
Of course,
game.
she's the eye
'cause
candy of
I
the
like
show.
hearing her gloat and rather than Marty gloat. It's nothing worse than Marty Lublin gloating in your face about anything.
Oh, that is the worst.
Defense is playing weak teams. The New York Jets get Cincinnati. And Cleveland gets Carolina. Like we said, Cleveland's been playing great defense. So be careful with that Mike Goodson start. But definitely get him on your team. And let's talk about Dimitri Nance. Somebody want to talk about him?
I don't want to talk about him.
Another guy I don't care about.
Another guy I don't care
Couldn't
about.
care less.
Adam's pick, Dimitri.
Thank you, Adam.
He's taking over for John Kuhn. He could be a goal line guy. Let me help you guys out. I got some other things I just found that I'm interested in. Nate Burleson had a decent game. We probably recommended him before. He was 7 for 97 for a touchdown. I like these Lions. The Lions seem to score.
Yeah, they
I also
do.
like Deep. Emmanuel Sanders has scored in 2 consecutive weeks for the Steelers. The Steelers are Big Ben is a monster. He led all fantasy points this week. But
Yeah, Sanders keeps getting the ball too. So,
he does
yeah.
get the ball, and he's another one of these guys that Big Ben finds. And let's see, anyone else I want to recommend? Maurice Morris. I think
Momo.
I think the Javid best era was week 2, and then he's got double turf toe now.
Yeah.
Javid's been sitting on my bench all season, and it looks like finally they're going to give it the rock to Maurice Morris. If you need a running back, he's 1% owned, so he's available everywhere.
And stay tuned to the Twitter feed. There's rumors that Best may be hitting the IR soon. And then you can finally drop his ass.
Right.
Yes. Yeah,
I love
I
dropping me
dropped
some
him.
Javid Best
I
ass.
dropped Javid Best
All
this
right.
week.
No doubt.
He's done. Good night now.
And that's waiver wire, so that leads to my favorite segment, Smash, Dash, or Trash.
Oh, let's talk to the viewers.
Okay, we have a few from
Tons of them.
Yeah, we have a few from earlier today. Okay, guys, the first one is pick 2 out of these 3 guys. Vincent Jackson, who's playing the Colts, Mike Williams, Tampa, who's playing the Ravens, and Miles Austin, who's playing the Saints. What do you think, Marty?
I will take, there he is, Miles Austin.
There she is.
Dallas
Miles
Cowboys. Miles scored 2 touchdowns this weekend. I like Kitna. I like Dallas. I'm going with Miles Austin in my second pick. Mike Williams. I like people coming off a little problems with the law. He had the DUI. He came out, scored another touchdown. He's consistent. I'm going to watch Vincent Jackson this week, but if you have Mike Williams and Miles Austin, I go with them. I rank them higher than V-Jax this week, just for 1 week. You guys?
I like V-Jax and Mike Williams.
I kind of like JJ. I'm sorry, but I like Miles Austin this week. I think Kitten is doing a really good job with this offense. He's just got a lot of spring in his step. He's throwing a good ball. He's throwing it where these guys can catch it. I kind of like Miles Austin. I think Des Bryant's going to get a lot of attention this week. I think he'll probably still have a touchdown, Des Bryant. But I think when you look at the yardage, I think Miles Austin is back. I think he's back, and he's going to do really well.
Nice, I agree.
Next, we have pick 1 out of Nate Washington, Deion Branch, Felix Jones, and Mike Goodson.
Say those one more time. I'm sorry.
Nate Washington, Deion Branch, Felix Jones, and Mike Goodson.
I will go with Goodson. I'll take the running back because you don't know about the Rusty Smith era. But Goodson, and then Nate Washington, and then Deion Branch, and then Felix Jones. I go in that order.
See, I actually think Deion Branch is a really solid. Again, I'm looking for consistency going to the playoffs. I'm not looking for feast or famine, unless you're really desperate. But if you can afford to keep a guy who just plain gets open, and Tom Brady gets him the ball, and he catches 7 or 8 balls a game, you want a Deion Branch in there. I like him. I'm a little scared of Goodson going up against the...
Would you like to bet?
Against the Browns.
Would you like to bet?
No bets this week.
Goodson versus Branch. Come on, give it to me.
I take Goodson.
Goodson.
Who is New England playing?
They're playing the Lions on Turkey Day.
Oh. Yeah, heck yeah. I'll take Deion Branch better than Mike Goodson this week.
All right, it's on.
Fantasy points? We have to work out which points.
Fantasy points, not fantasy points.
No, but I mean, everybody's got different points per reception for running backs.
Scoring.
Standard scoring. All right, I want to know what that is. It's unofficial bet right now. This is an unofficial bet.
It's not yardage.
Mike Goodson, Deion Branch.
It's on.
We're going for a 6 this time at PBR.
So I'm back in my statement right there for the viewer who asked that question.
I like Deion.
Where's Claire going?
All right, Claire's out.
The wrong way.
Claire's just out of here.
Claire, we'll miss you. Bye, Claire. Come back.
She's just
Was it
gone.
something we said?
Okay.
All right.
Did somebody on the chat room asked Claire to meet her out front. What is it? What do we got?
Tolbert, Amendola, Burleson, Blunt, or
Harvin.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, again, I'm a little concerned about Mike Tolbert this week. But if people go right ahead. I feel like San Diego's in for a little trouble on Sunday night against Indy. But I like Blunt. Well, Blunt's playing. They're playing at the.
Playing Baltimore.
Man, these are tough today.
These are tough.
Now, don't forget to read the people's names.
Yeah.
Ask the question.
Frontman Master
this person in
231
the chat room
wants to know
didn't write it
Tolbert,
down.
Amendola,
Do you guys
Harvin,
have the
Burleson, or
questions?
Blunt. You can start 2.
Yeah, I like to speak to the viewers, but she didn't write who asked the question.
I'm not convinced on Nate Burleson right now. Even though he's had a couple of really good games, I'm not
It's
sold.
supposed to be our quick segment.
You're right, it is.
Maybe that's why Claire walked out on us.
Tolbert and
You're just
Blunt. There you
jabbing.
go.
You guys are both in the chat room right now, right?
We got you, Frontman Master.
All
Yeah.
right, just look at the chat room. People are asking questions.
Yeah.
Read it on.
All right. Okay. Frontmaster 231. Tolbert, Amendola,
that was the one.
Burleson, or Blunt. I can start
Tecumseh 628.
I will go with Tolbert and also Blunt. I like the running backs over
Me
these
too.
wide
I'm going
receivers.
Tolbert and Blunt.
I'll go Tolbert and Blunt.
Tecumseh 628. Zach Miller or Boss? That's good. I'm going to go with Kevin Boss. I think Eli's going to dial it back a little bit. He's got to regain his confidence. the baby-faced Giants quarterback, I think, needs a little check-in.
I go with Zach Miller. I think Oakland's going to destroy Miami for some reason. I just think,
All right,
I think
I'm going
Miami's
with
going to
Boss.
get destroyed. It's going to be Zach Miller time if he's healthy.
Fantasy Warrior, Jamal Charles at Seattle or Fred Jackson at Pittsburgh? Absolutely Jamal Charles at Seattle.
Jamal Charles, smash.
It is really hard. Fred
Smash.
Jackson's been very good.
He's been good.
But he's going up against Pittsburgh. Tough to play in Seattle. I've been to that stadium a few times. It is a tough place to play, no doubt. But I'm still going to go with Jamal Charles at Seattle because he's got a guy named Thomas Jones who can spell him at any moment, and they play good ball control. Moving on.
Rhino Hand has Jennings, Bolden, Williams, Tampa Bay, Thomas Jacks, or Murphy. A Lewis Murphy sighting. You know, Jennings, hello, welcome back to the fantasy
Greg Jennings,
world.
welcome back.
Jennings
I
and
love
Aaron
him.
Rodgers are who we thought they were right now.
I'll tell you, I go with Mike Williams and Greg Jennings. That's my pick.
I
for
go
Rhino
Williams
Hand.
and Jennings also. Williams scores every week. He's
Every week
He's
he
Freeman's
scores.
go-to guy. I love Freeman.
Oh, it's
I
great.
love Freeman right now. I've loved Freeman all year.
All right, Rhino Hand again. Pettigrew or Mercedes Lewis?
Mercedes Lewis.
Of course, Claire.
I'm going to ride that Mercedes Lewis also. You got to keep going with Lewis.
Sure.
Also, Mike Sims Walker is still injured, so yeah.
Yep.
I think that's
Yep.
a really smart bet.
Keller or Joel Dreesen? Dustin Keller or Joel Dreesen for Frontman Master 231? Boy, that is a good question. Keller has been...
No.
And now especially because of Santonio.
Where's Houston this week?
Houston is
at Texans,
Tennessee.
home against the Titans.
I'm going Dreesen.
Dreesen.
No, I don't even have to think about it. Dreesen. Smash.
Really? Against Cincy, huh? You're going to go... All right.
Against Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah, I just think
like
Sanchez has been really good.
I think he's been really good
He's
too,
not
but he's been
throwing
really
like
good
Keller.
to Santonio Holmes.
Yeah.
My boy. All right. Next up. We got any others?
Mike
Michael Turner.
Metal Militia 87. Michael
Militia,
the
how
Burner
are you, buddy?
Turner versus LeGarrette Punchy Blunt. Let's see.
LeGarrette
Green Bay
Blunt
at
Force.
Atlanta.
Yeah, I
Or
say.
Blunt versus.
Turner is home against Green Bay, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's still Green Bay.
I'm going Turner.
I don't
You got to
know.
go with the Burner.
I think you go with the Burner.
Burner at home. These are two teams that we look to see do some damage in the playoffs. This is a statement game for both of these
Yeah,
teams.
and the Falcons are really good at home.
They
really
are.
good at home. So I'd go with Michael Turner. Even
They-
though he does have a tendency to sort of slow down and just fall over, I do like Michael Turner. Vic or Brady?
And who's that from?
Vic or Brady? Tecumseh 628. Vic or Brady? Boy.
Eagles have the Bears. Let's see, the Patriots have the Lions. I might go with Vic.
I'm going Brady. Marty, you want to break this tie?
Woo, that is a tough one.
I'm going
That
with
is a
Brady
tough
on the
one.
big stage on the holiday.
Yes, that is a great call.
He's been great the last 2 weeks. Vic
Vic
definitely
is the
dialed
one.
back
Vic
a little bit.
He didn't do anything in the air, but he still gets you points with the legs.
He does.
I'm going Vic. I'm going
All right.
Vic.
All right.
Against that Bears D, I'm going to go with Tom
I'm
Brady.
going Vic.
I'm going to definitely go with Tom Brady.
Great.
All right.
It's a sport. I think both of them are going to have great
Yeah.
games. I think you're lucky to have both those quarterbacks. Great pickup on Vic, isn't it? All you Vic owners.
Love it. All right, Frontman Master 231 with another tough question. I like this guy. Brady, Roethlisberger, or Shaw against
I didn't
star
get to
2?
do any
Oh,
of
this
these.
is easy.
Oh,
Okay.
well, I think it's easy. You have an OP league. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you can start two.
OP league?
What is
am I-
that?
I'm losing it. OP?
Yeah, I don't know.
Talk to me, Frontman Master.
Takes him a second.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm thinking... No, I'm sorrier.
You stuff
He has an OP
never.
slot,
Offensive player?
apparently.
Oh. Yeah.
Start two.
Okay, offensive player. Yeah, I'd say Brady and Roethlisberger, easily.
Easy.
Schaub is too unreliable.
Easy, Brady and
Brady
Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger.
Brady and Roethlisberger, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be happy to have that situation also.
Okay, we have, let's see. Okay, so couple more questions. Pick
that
two.
one.
Claire's
okay, so,
back. Oh, I missed you,
Yeah, you know, we
Claire.
did
Teddy
move on
Cruz.
without you.
Oh, we already answered
We already
this,
did
though.
that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, Claire.
Zach Miller or Kevin Boss?
We did that one.
We did that one.
Who
We
would
said
you go
I
with?
said Boss, he said Miller. What do you got?
Who do you say?
I say Boss.
You do.
I think
Thanks,
this week.
Claire.
This
All
week
right.
I say Boss.
Cha-ching.
Lost.
And of quarterbacks this week, Sanchez, Hill, or Matt Schaub, which is interesting
Sanchez,
because
Hill or
Yeah.
Matt Schaub.
Schaub.
I'll tell you something. Here's what I love about Mark Sanchez. He does not turn the ball over right now. He has a resurgent Santonio Holmes, who's finally in game shape, has proven the last 2 weeks he's a go-to guy. I think it's only going to open things up for Braylon Edwards, which it did at the end of the game last week. I think it's only going to open things up for Keller, and I don't know.
Sanchez, spit it out. They're playing Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I would say if Sean Hill is starting at Cincinnati, I'd take him.
But I was going to say, Sean Hill's also been really solid. He's been good.
Yeah,
but Sanchez is the guy.
Sanchez, yeah.
Yes, done. Not even a question. You stuttering mumbler. You.
Come on. What is this?
Well, what's an OPP league?
All right. KC defense, Oakland defense, or Chicago defense?
Let's see here. KC, Oakland, or Chicago?
I'll tell you, KC's defense has been too inconsistent for my taste. I had them on my team. I was following them for a while. Oakland's defense, very good until they met Pittsburgh.
Oakland's defense.
But the Raiders are
I
playing
say
the
Oakland's
Dolphins.
back this week. They play the Dolphins.
The Dolphins just
Tyler
got shut down.
Thigpen.
Yeah.
I say Raiders.
I say Oakland
And they're at home.
Redemption.
I'll take the Oakland D.
Yes. Could be a massacre like that Denver game. No offense, Rune.
None taken.
All right. Any other questions? Anybody else?
Let's see. Fantasy Warriors coming up with something. Is Santonio Holmes trustworthy going forward?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. The guy's a playmaker, and he's finally had those 4 or 5 weeks to get his engine going, and I think he's just going to be great.
Which is
Get
why
him.
I think Keller is maybe a bit of a non-issue.
Well, here's the thing, too. Kotchery's out. Kotchery's out right now.
Yes.
And so, I mean, it's Braylon and it's Santonio. And between those two guys, Santonio's the more reliable receiver, no doubt. He has become his go-to guy.
He's won the last 4 games in dramatic fashion.
He has.
So he's a smash. He's on my team. I recommend him highly. Play him out. He's gonna bring you touchdowns.
Fantasy Warrior asks if Manningham or Hagan will get more targets this week. I don't know who's going to have the better numbers, but I'll guarantee Manningham's still going to have more targets.
I bet Manningham has a better day against Claire right here.
I'm holding firm to my Hagan start. Because I think Manningham is horrible. I can't deal with him as far as I can throw him.
Donald Driver, question mark.
Trash or trash?
I think he's trash. I got to tell you, I don't like it. I like Jennings going forward, and I like James Jones being the number 2 guy. Driver just has not really done much. I mean, the guy had 9 catches once in week 3 at Chicago for 61 yards. He's just not getting down the field as much. He just doesn't catch the ball very often. That's it.
He might still be a stash. I like James Jones better than him right now, too. But we'll just watch those Packers. Who knows? An injury away, he could be starting.
An injury away, no doubt, no doubt. JJ in the house, calling from Manningham.
JJ, thank you, JJ.
We love you, JJ.
Nice chops last week. What's going on there?
Mr. Chops. All right.
Chops.
Well, I think that does it for our chat room.
Give all the plugs, please.
Stay with us this week. We're going to be tweeting all week as injury reports come in. It's at stupid4 football. Again, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/streamingarage. And on game day, join us right back here on ustream.tv. We're going to do a little live chat room. And we had a lot of people in there last week. Let's keep the conversation going. Playoffs are coming up. Good luck the rest of the way
Like
for
us
all
on
of you.
Facebook.
And please like us on Facebook. Don't just like us here.
Friend us up.
Because this feels good, but Facebook feels even better, believe it or not.
Claire's always on Facebook, too.
I'm always on Facebook.
All right. Thank you so much. And on behalf of my colleagues here, have a kick-ass week.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Big
Talk to you
win
soon.
on Turkey Day. Claire here.
You know why?
This is my first appearance on camera with Claire, and I'm so excited.
Here's why I forgot.
We coordinated.
Here's why I forgot about who screwed me. Because for the past 3 weeks, I've just been winning, Marty. And I mean, I can't lose, and I have to fix my mic.
I love that he's talking as he's fixing his mic. He's supposed to not talk so I can mute it. I'm muting you. You guys take over.
Nobody screwed me this week.
Producer Mike, nice job. Mark, you just screwed the show earlier with that opening. You know, honestly, I have to say no one screwed me either. I'm in playoff mode, people. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to give you advice. There was almost a screw, and I know people who have LaShawn McCoy was really worried. As we got to that second half, he had 13 yards, and then that fourth down play. He breaks off a 50-yard touchdown. I'm jumping up and down. LaShawn saved me. I win my game, Claire.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a big victory for me.
Nobody screwed me either. I did have Santonio Holmes on the bench, which...
You're killing me. Should have told me this 20 minutes ago, guys.
I'm not a sound guy.
20 minutes ago, should have made this correction.
Can we sub Mark for Adam?
This thing doesn't click in.
Let's just do a two-man show. Viewers, let me talk to Claire.
Okay.
Please get that shot off of Jabber.
Great. Can you hear me now?
Nope, you're facing the wrong way. But go ahead, yes, we're good. Keep it.
The man doesn't know how to work a microphone, folks, but hopefully we can help you with your fantasy
That's
news.
where it's going. Okay, well, I didn't get screwed because I won, and I'm excited.
So let's go to We Told You So.
So there you go. All right,
Yeah.
let's go to
Enough about us.
Enough about us.
But now let's tell you so.
But shouldn't we talk about people who might have screwed other people?
No, let's talk about We Told You So.
We can throw out a couple screws if you want. Should we throw out a couple screws?
It's part of the show, people.
It is.
All right, we're going to move on to We Told You So.
Flawless segment right there.
Show started yet?
All right, let's start out with a guy that I have grown to love because he's on my squad, folks. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis.
The law firm.
The law firm, running back for the New England Patriots. There he is. There he is. The former Hoosier transfer, but I know. Nobody remembers when he was in Indiana. A good day for Ben Jarvis.
He's been having some very solid
He's been having some good days. What are we looking at for the running game moving forward for the New England Patriots? Obviously, Danny Woodhead, who we're going to mention, is also in the mix. Claire's favorite.
My favorite.
But
he was, and he helped tackle last week. He was, running like crazy. He had a touchdown. But I think Green Ellis is their number one guy, and I think Danny Woodhead looked to him, though, for, he's obviously showing that he's capable.
Woodhead's like a Kevin Falk, if you remember. He's a Kevin Falk type from the old school Patriots. That's his role. He'll get some big plays, but Ben Jarvis Green Ellis is your running back moving forward.
I think, Danny Woodhead, as Adam had suggested at Flex, I think he's good for 10, 12 points, though.
But he was also on our We Told You So. So I guess since we're talking about him, we told you about Danny Woodhead apparently last week, too.
Absolutely.
And
I missed last week, but I'm going to take credit for some of these anyway.
Yeah, right.
I want to talk about Mike Tolbert because he, on one of my leagues, was my only running back and really carried it in the biggest game he's had all year. And with Ryan Matthews being horrible and disappointing and probably out for a while, even when he's in, Mike Tolbert is who you've got to go with.
Tolbert seems to get a touchdown each week. He's like the Chris Carter of the Chargers. Every time you look up, Tolbert has a touchdown. Not a lot of yards, but the guy always gets a touchdown.
Yeah.
And Ryan Matthews might be one of the biggest busts of this year's fantasy
I'm concerned
season.
about Mike Tolbert only because he did have a good game on Monday night, but he's really only had like 4 good games. And even in some of those games where he scored a touchdown, I mean, the numbers have been so pitiful that he's only scored maybe 7, 8 points. Usually if a guy gets low yardage and a touchdown, you're looking at a solid 14, 15-point effort, which can give you some confidence moving forward. My issue with Tolbert is that sometimes he gets 2 carries, 3 carries for 3 yards, 12 carries for 11 yards against Oakland, 8 for 32 against Houston. I mean, do you think we're finally seeing him turn the corner and become a really solid option, or is it the kind of thing where you just throw him in there and you hope and pray that he's going to have a good performance?
I think he won't have as good a performance this coming week as he did this week, but
He's
been splitting with Ryan Matthews because they keep hoping that Ryan Matthews is going to be their guy, which he's not, and now officially, I think this week, he's out. So now I feel confident about Tolbert moving forward.
I like Tolbert as a flex. He's been in my 3rd spot. Sometimes I don't put him in, but he is a crapshoot. He's that 7 or 8 point guy a week. If Matthew stays out and he's the starting running back, boom, move him to a number 2. But I like him as a flex.
But it's not like your flex players are getting less scoring than your other players, right? Good afternoon. Welcome to
Thanksgiving
Stupid for
edition.
Fantasy Football, the Thanksgiving edition. I am your host today, Mark Jablon, otherwise known as Jabber. We got Claire, the Coffee here, and Marty Lublin.
Oh, it's good
Welcome
to be
back.
here. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy Thanksgiving. A little housekeeping up top here, folks. If you want to check us out, keep in mind it is Tuesday today, so a lot of injury updates and things are going to be happening tomorrow. If you want to check us out on YouTube, it's youtube.com/streamingarage. You can check us out on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter for all the latest updates throughout the week, including the Thursday games and the Sunday games. At Stupid4Football, that's Stupid the number 4 football on Twitter. And on game day, join us in the Ustream chat room. We'll be hanging out, talking shop, talking football, talking late injuries, late scratches, things like that. Guys, you should start and guys, you should sit. Let's jump right into it, shall we? First off, our signature segment, We Told You So. Or, excuse me, our signature segment,
Adam,
Who
we missed
Screwed
you.
Me?
I miss Adam.
Yeah.
Well, stop it.
You know, Mark is always big with the shout-outs. I have to give a shout-out to today, and also JJ. Shout-out to our peeps.
Shout-
Mark
Yo.
loves shout-outs, so there's
I do.
a shout-out.
I do. Adam,
Call in,
Okay.
please. Well, we are so glad to have
Flex is, I mean,
a flex you want to count on for 7 or 8.
A flex you want to count on to be a significant part of your team. This is playoff time. You can't just sort of throw a guy in there and say, oh, well, he's going to give me 7, 8
But
points.
he's your
A flex
third
player
guy.
is as much as a receiver, as much as a running back, as much as a tight end.
It depends who's on your team.
Yeah.
It depends.
Well, of course it does.
If you're
It always
grasping
depends
for
on who's on your
straws,
team.
yes.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
go
Let's
to...
move on to,
Des
let me
Bryant.
go to this one.
Okay.
Because you all know I'm a Cowboys fan, and last time I
So
was here,
pitiful.
we talked about the implosion of the Cowboys. But JJ and I said there was one guy who was in FU mode. He's the one guy who cares. He's been on a tear. It's Des Bryant. You can count on him each week. The guy seems to just be better than everyone else on the field right now, and he really cares. He's going higher than everyone. He's a god for the Cowboys, and I
Yeah.
love his fire.
He seems like he's the only guy who's really, really leaving it all out on the field every week. Like you said, he's out jumping everybody. He's out hustling everybody. What's that stupid verb that those football pundits create? He's out, whatever. He's out aggressiving, like those guys say. But yeah, he really is. He's aggressive. He's big. He's strong. He's using every inch of his frame and every bit of his muscle to catch a lot of balls. I mean, he's been great. He's been great.
We told you about him about 3 weeks ago. He's helping out. Kittner looks great. He could be a waiver wire steal if he's still there, because Kittner's got him. He's got Miles Austin stepping up. And look at Kittner with a nice little quarterback scramble for a touchdown. So don't sleep on Kittner. If you're still searching for someone to fill out and get you some points as a quarterback, I don't mind John Kittner. I'm telling you right now.